אנחנו מתחילים את הפאנל, ואני רוצה להזמין את חברתי, הגברת הודה אבו ארקוב. בבקשה, מחיאות כפיים. הודה, תפדלי.
First of all, thank you for sticking around for that long. I think the strategy to keep the Palestinians last didn't work. So we need to bring the Palestinians back to be number one issue within the Israeli society. Thank you again. Thank you, Mitvim. Thank you, Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. I hope I did a good job pronouncing that. If we just leave frustration and shock aside and think of what we can do rather than go deeper on analysis, so we all collectively manage to disrupt the status quo. Because even in the peace-building community, there is a status quo. We still think peace is owned only by the left in Israel and in Palestine. Flash news, there is no left in Palestine and Israel left. With all the respect to you all, one of the strategies that we've used in the past is to make peace as an exclusive club for those who believe in coexistence. It's not working anymore. So we need to disrupt the status quo. How can we do that? And I want this to be an interactive session with you because I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm telling you that the situation is bad on both sides, but when it was good, I don't remember, like especially the youth the youth who live in Palestine and Israel have not experienced any indication of peace on a daily basis. So what should we do? What are we going back home with tonight? What is it, the responsibility that we need to take towards our own youth and our politics in this region? Because it's obvious that we couldn't manage to finish each other. So what's the strategy? You have a very difficult government coming to Israel, but I see opportunities there, and I want to leave you with that. This is what I'm going to leave you with. This government has someone who is so obsessed with power, so this person will make sure that he will stay in power. What does that mean? He needs to work on taming the radicals in the government, which I think, in my opinion, as a Palestinian, is the best option for the Palestinians, because if they are in the opposition, they are more dangerous than in the government. Second of all, I think this government is going to bring back the conversation about the two-state solution as one of the solutions, not the only solution. But it will push us all back to a place to think that maybe the unilateral procedures on the ground are not working. Because if you live in the West Bank, hopefully you are not living in the West Bank, but if you are like me living in the West Bank, you see that on a daily basis, there is no space for a two-state solution. But it's not impossible to undo it. You know, we've seen Sharon doing it in the past. So maybe this will happen, which is, again, a very dangerous notion to present now to the very radical government and a majority of Israelis who don't believe that the Palestinians should exist. Bad news for them, we exist and we will continue to exist, and for us it's an existential question. The only threat that I see on the Palestinian side has to do with apathy. I tell you with a heart full of hope that we are not interested in an armed conflict. We cannot do it, basically. The reason why the Lion's Den is famous among the Palestinians now has nothing to do with Israel as a state of occupation. It has more to do with our internal politics, the fragmentation of the Palestinian politics and society. So the first thing that came out of the Lion's Den's leaders was, Hamas does not represent us, Fatah does not represent us, even Mahmoud Abbas does not represent us. We are against the fragmentation of the Palestinian society, and we want a unified Palestinian society. The second statement had to do with their armed approach to the conflict. We are in a defense mode. We will defend Nablus and other areas if the settlers and the army attack us, but we will not go to Tel Aviv and do killing of Israeli citizens. That was obvious, but nobody actually picked on that. That's why this group gained a little bit of attention in the Palestinian society. But if you go around and ask people, are you interested in a third intifada? And if you are not an official and you are not someone who's doing polling, everyone you ask will tell you, no, we are not interested in a third intifada. What do you think of Netanyahu? Netanyahu gave us permits, opened the borders sometimes for businesses, you know, the interest group thing. And, we've seen increasing efforts on hiring more doctors in the Israeli hospitals. We've seen more businesses opening in sea areas. And guess what? He is not disguised behind his politics. He says truly what he thinks about the Palestinians, about the future of Israel and Palestine. So he's for even the Palestinians. He is a true direct human being. He doesn't hide behind politics of peace and then bombs Palestinians on daily basis. So this is where also the less moderate or more moderate governments practiced in the past few years. They failed to recruit people more for peace, and they used the almighty power of the army in order to recruit more votes to win, and they didn't win. So I want you to stop thinking of how the Palestinian and Israeli politics work, and let's put our hands together and start talking to our own in order to disrupt the status quo on the ground. My way of doing that is supporting the Alliance for Middle East Peace, 160 organizations that has thousands of Israelis and Palestinians who do not sleep, who take risks in order to make the space for peace even more bigger than shrinking it. The governments tried to shrink it. BDS tried to shrink it. It's not a huge thing, by the way, and anti-normalization is not a big thing, but they were made by Netanyahu as a smart politician as big as you can think, but they are not big in the Palestinian society. So I assure you that they are not big, and they are not hindering the Palestinians from coming forward and finding a way in order to disrupt the status quo. So go home knowing that there are young generations of Palestinians and Israelis who are waiting for us to give them a chance to meet so as not to lose their humanity. Good night. Thank you so much. And I have to leave. Thank you, Ksenia. Thank you.
Thank you, Habib.